Dhyanamoolam Gurumurti Pujamoolam Gurupradam Mantramoolam Guruvakyam Mokshamoolam Guru Kripa. Shri Guruve Namaha. Hari Om Tat Sat. I would like to continue from last Monday's conversation on caretaker. Let me read again, those of you who do not remember, and we'll discuss this matter. This matter pertains to all of us so beautifully. This is nothing but our life, to whichever degree it pertains to us. So let me go to that. We have read earlier, I will read it once more. Please address the topic of caregivers. As our first generation of immigrants are getting older, we are facing many challenges and diseases which require a great deal of care. For example, Alzheimer, depression, dementia, Parkinson, and general old age. We can get help from different resources, but primary responsibility is always on the family. As you well know, children in this country live with their own spouse and children. Also, they have jobs and their own family responsibilities. They could also be living in another city or state, so one cannot depend upon them. So the spouse who is the healthier of the two gets the responsibility of it all. But he or she is also getting older and do not have the strength to cope with the situation. In some cases, they are financially not able to afford outside help. In situation like this, how is one to deal with it? What should be the thought process? All of us who have left our homeland have sacrificed a lot, worked very hard, done all kinds of jobs to support our family and raise them best to our ability. Last few years of our lives should be happy and content. Pay attention to the world should be. Please shed some light on the subject. Please help. Kind regards in gratitude. Okay, now coming out of it, last time we discussed about not as much on the caregiver, but all it depends upon as to how we take it. I had privilege to meet a lady to whom my father was treating her like her own sister, his own sister. When she got married at the age of 18, I used the word she inherited a mother-in-law who was bedridden. And since 18 until her age 70, that means 52 years, she was bedridden. And During her young age until she even reached 70, from day one, her mother-in-law did not have bladder and bowel control. So she would wet the bed, wet the bed sheet and whatnot. And mind you, during those days, there were no diapers available. And this young girl just got married. Until she's 70, she underwent this. And it's not a matter of her spouse, but her mother-in-law. But every time that I had privilege of meeting her, I could see a beautiful feeling of compassion on her face. You will see a very delicate smile. You will never see her in any agony, any disappointment. And that too is very hard to find at this young age of 18 and throughout until the age 70 when the mother-in-law passed away. So here, what I would like to first mention, and this, whose spouses and themselves are not old enough, we all the time think that this happened to John and Jeannie, but it's not going to happen to me. So we never prepare ourselves. Even now, if we ask ourselves, how often do we equip ourselves mentally and physically for those days to come? Those days may very well come to all of us, but we all the time think that it happened to the neighbor, it happened to my uncle or aunt or even my relatives, but no, I am safe. So we do not build a bridge before the flood may come. We have no time. And by the time we need to find time, it is too late. But nevertheless, we have all kinds of people. So to those to whom these days have not yet come, my earnest request will be, please find time to love yourself. Because as the friend of mine has said, one of the spouses who is relatively healthier, she or he also have relatively painful, allowable body. Even though they want to do, but they cannot do, they have limitations too. So in that case, what they can do. So let us take that case, what they can do. Number one, please do not take it as a job, even as a responsibility. And it is hard, let me tell you, it's not that easy, I understand. But if we develop the feeling of opportunity, of service, it may be husband or a wife, or let me use the word spouse. If it is a matter of spouse is also not you, but your nearest relative. or you can say even your neighbor. So if we treat that as an opportunity to serve 80–90% of our mental fatigue, disappointment, misery will stop. Those of us who happen to be in the social service and who has expanded the family, not to one's own, but to friends, parents, neighbors, surrounding citizens, X, Y, Z. And there are people who have extended that to the animal, their pets, and not only their pets, but somebody else's. The feeling, the bond, emotions, the love, there is no other feeling like it. The other day, I had a privilege to see a small episode called Octopus, My Teacher. Octopus, mind you, an animal, marine animal in the ocean, the diver falls in love with. And you should see the bond between them. And this kind of bond is possible everywhere. But that bond is not in expectation, but in giving. That's all. Not because you love me, so I have to love you, but I love you anyway. And if we extend that love to the living being, can even further travel. And I should even include in the living beings birds, animal, insect, plant, and later on nature in general. Once you start developing, then while you will be doing your seva, your service, your duty, more than the duty, let's even remove that word from our dictionary and we call it an opportunity, a service, seva. Everybody doesn't get that opportunity. And I understand, mind you, that this is sometimes a work because your body and your mind do not tolerate this, cannot cope up with. You don't have enough strength, but a lot more than our physical health. Physical health, it is the health of the mind. And still to go a step further, you're not doing it, you're not choosing it. But you have been chosen for this beautiful function of allowing you to have this opportunity to serve. Because in this cosmos, there are a bunch of helps available. We think that it's not available. That's our misunderstanding or lack of understanding. And how much help to go to your spouse, you are not the decision maker. It has been already decided in the cosmic clock. But you have been given this opportunity, and taking it as an opportunity or a workload, that choice we have. Now coming to some of us, we may say, this is good at the philosophical level, but reality is different. Yes, I understand reality is different, but then don't cry before Isha or the Supreme Being, or you may use the word God. But thinking and requesting, and even if you have to complain to the Supreme Reality, complain it in such a manner that it is you who has given me this task, and now it is you who have to provide the resources. And they do it anyway. But if you have frustration, pour your frustration on the Supreme Reality. Prachodayat, guide me towards you. So understand, before the creation creates before the creator creates the creation, he provides all resources. Resources are there, but we are taking it as a complaint. We are taking as inadequacy, not sufficient. There's always sufficiency. Let us not be scared of some disability. Disability is also nothing but an art of withering away, meaning some point in time, the body has to shrink and the body has to leave the world. This is all part of shrinkage, as it happens in the Mother Nature every year in the fall. All the leaves and flowers, everything is dropped off the branches, and the branches look like nothing. And you think that the tree is dead, and then it blossoms again in the spring. This to the Mother Nature, to the jungles, it happens every year. With us, it happens maybe once 100 years, you can say. When I mention that it is the state of mind, when I say the state of mind, it's a matter of relativity. What would you call pain? This morning, a beautiful story came to me. And that's the story talking about a mother who spent her entire life bare feet working as a laborer on a metal pan carrying over her head, and she's transporting some sand or stones and that kind of construction material. During those days, he could barely earn 3 rupees a day, understand? And out of this little old story, but still 3 rupees a day. With that, she has to raise a child. With that, she saved some money, and with which she sent the boy to the school. And afterwards, he being a bright student, he finished a graduation and got a job. Understand, The boy has not seen any money, but he has seen how hard mother worked. And mother, during all her years, she could not afford even a pair of shoes, sandals. So the boy, when he got his first salary check, he went to shoe store and says, please give me a pair of shoes for my mother. The shop owner says, is your mother with you? And he says, no. Then he said, how can I know her measurement? He reaches to his wallet, pulls out a four-folded paper and says, I don't have my mom with me, but I have a print of his feet. Okay, let me see. And he offered her a pair of shoes or sandals. The boy asked how much it is, and the shop owner says 800 rupees. He had his first salary check just barely enough to take care of the cost of the shoes. He takes the shoes and starts walking out of the shop. Shopkeeper says, hey, please come here, boy. And he pulls out another box of the same shoes. And he said, this one is from me in case your mom, who has never worn shoes, and if she wears it out, you have another pair. Understand the generosity. The boy takes it, and the shopkeeper calls him again and said, would you please come here? And the boy says, yes. And the shopkeeper says, would you please tell her my pranam, my salutation? Shopkeeper was an honest, devoted person. And boy walks out again. And the shopkeeper calls him again. I said, boy, could you do me a favor? And the boy is wondering, shopkeeper is requesting a favor from me? Yeah, of course. Tell me what. Can I have that piece of paper on which you have your mother's footprints? And the boy said, sure. He takes that paper, and guess what? He puts that paper in his temple at home. After a few years, when his own son has grown up to little understanding, and he says, Dad, what is this footprint? Why are you putting this kind of paper in the temple? Father says, the statues which we have, we call them gods. But this is the footprint of real God who has worked, or God as you can say, who has worked throughout her life, not even a day of break, with the hope of sending her son to the school. Can you imagine what kind of contribution our mother have done in our life? And those of us who do not have our mothers, There are tons of mothers on this earth who would like them to be called mom. Talk to them, share with them. And as soon as we start sharing our responsibility as an opportunity, you will know the bond that gets created between that person and you becomes so beautiful that you will not feel your old age, you will not feel your disability, but you will feel the world is so full of opportunity. Understand each one of us may have different kind of strength. You may not have physical strength to work, but you can pick up a phone call and just talk. And sometimes you may not like to talk, but then share some bread with, share some wealth with, and treat that as an opportunity. This is not just a work, dear friends, and this is matter of spouse that we were talking right in the beginning, and the spouse with which we have spent our entire life. We have spent such a lowly number of days or years, to whom we have shared our body, we have shared everything good. So treat this once again as a unique golden moment in the life. Whether you could do it or not, it's a different story. But it will definitely lessen the pain, and or it can even convert your pain into joy and opportunity. Life is beautiful if we make it. And life, we could see the reality, what is inside of us. If we are thinking of divine blessing all the time, then we'll see the divinity all around us. And if we think of slightest complaint that, oh God, why are you punishing me? Let me assure you, dear friends, God is never a punisher. God is nothing but love. God is nothing but peace. And God is nothing but compassion. We'll talk about it once more next week. This is about the current situation. That means we have problem. We are not forecasting the problem will be tomorrow, but we have so-called the condition which is most current now. So for the current now, slowly and slowly, engage ourselves into meditative practice. Spend some more time in dharana. Understand, do not beg for any help. Instead, be assured from within that the Creator has created this creation and He provides all resources. I will train my eyes in such a manner so that I could see them as resources and not as lack or complaint. This is the current moment. And this question, whosoever friend of mine has given me this little write-up, I'm so thankful to the person that what an opportunity it gives me to share my thoughts on it. And mind you, a lot of time we think that it is easier said than done. But let me tell you, and I must not even tell you, and still I love you all, that's why I'm sharing with you. These are not theoretical talk. I had various opportunities I was gifted with in life, and still I am to be of some help. And they allow me this opportunity to be grateful and see the footprints in the temple of my heart. Hari Om. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamabhaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. That's it.